my American Flyer O-gauge pre-war 1680 Hudson completed restoration. So for those who haven't seen the earlier video, this was the shell I started with. It came with a motor. The motor was just about in the same condition as this. The zinc rot was too far gone to salvage this shell, but we salvaged all of the trim pieces off of it. So the copper tubing, everything I could pull off of it, we pulled off, including the steam chest. So we come over here, we body worked the steam chest until we got it smooth again, sprayed it with filler primer and then flat black. The copper tubes got lightly sanded and then steel wooled. The brass handrail is new. The little cotter pins that hold it in is new. The smokestack is off a Lionel 259. The brass bell we salvaged. Little brass whistles that we pulled off of other projects. The problem with American Flyer pre-war is sometimes they're missing parts, and there aren't a lot of parts to be had. It's not like the pre-war Lionel where the people are making them. Usually if you want some American Flyer parts, if you're lucky enough to find them, go you. If not, you gotta make them. The flag holders are Lionel parts. We kind of reused. I put little jewels in the front. I don't think they were there originally. The little bezel that goes around the headlight is off of another American Flyer shell I picked up for parts. The linkage was the hardest part. My locomotive didn't have linkage. So the guides up front are American Flyer original parts. Hennings sold this rod, and the little connector that they hang off of. No one sells the little square that goes on the end, and I could not find the connecting rods on the side. So I ended up buying a piece of flat aluminum and using other ones as a template, laid it out, measured out how long they had to be, drilled my holes, and then cut out with a scroll saw the aluminum to make my side rods. How to make this piece, that was a little more challenging. How to make this bend, how to make that. Could not find an original trailing truck, so we used a Lionel trailing truck. And then to make it work, I actually hung chains underneath of it off of a MTH tender frame I had. Off the S2 turbines, they had little chains holding the wheels from spinning, so we reused those and made a mount. I stamped it a 1680. It would have been an American Flyers Lines decal, but this was a 1680 model, and I thought it looked pretty darn cool. In the back of the original, there's supposed to be a little shelf in here that holds the weights, and holds the little red light that hangs in the back. So I actually had to make that part out of brass. Made it out of cardboard first, knew that it fit, and got the holes in it where it's supposed to be, but we put that in. I put a Lionel 259 weight in the front to put a little bit of weight on the back, and then used a bracket off 754 Lionel passenger car that hangs down, that shines the red light in. The motor was trashed. The armature was good. The armature field was bad. So I took another American Flyer parts motor, broke the plates apart on this, put the new field in. I worked on this reversing. It had a manual pendulum reverse. I worked on it for better part of 2 months and could never make it go the right way because it was so far gone and so far damaged from all the corrosion. So at the end of the day, what I ended up doing was just putting a double pole, double throw reverse switch and tucked it in right here. You can barely even see that it's there, but that way I can just manually switch this back and reverse, forward. For the tender, there are many readily available tenders for this locomotive, but I had put so much money in getting a replacement boiler and all of the little pieces and parts, and I was already at about 5 months working on this. I had a spare MTH tender that was for a Hudson that had its 6-wheel trucks like it was supposed to have, and I just had an American Flyer Lines stamp made. Rubberstamps.com, you can get stamps in like about a week. So, sprayed flat black, very, very, very nice. A lot longer of a restoration that I had planned on doing. The American Flyer stuff, if you can get one with all the parts, they're a dream to work on. They run really, really, really nice. If you're missing parts, you can go to Portline Hobbies, and that's about it. There's not a lot out there, so if you're going to do American Flyer, just be warned, you're probably going to have to make some stuff. My linkage in action. Really nice headlight coming in, nice and shiny. You can see the linkage moving. Really, really complicated to do, but worth it in the end. And then, like I said, just go to reverse. We could put an electronic reverse switch in, but again, it would have been cheaper to buy one and fix it up than to buy one and have to make everything and buy all the little pieces and parts. So reverse, very, very smooth running. It's a really, really nice locomotive. It kind of combines that pre-war Lionel realistic, like the 763, with kind of the toy tin plate brass tubing. It just, I love it. It's a beautiful locomotive. And after many, many months of work, a beautiful running locomotive. So, an American Flyers O-gauge pre-war 1680 Hudson locomotive.